Good morning to all DekelOil shareholders and prospective shareholders. This is Lincoln Moore, Executive Director of DekelOil. This is podcast 6. Today we take the opportunity to have a good look at the current palm oil prices, which is opportune as we've seen a small uptick in prices over the last couple of weeks. A couple of days ago, we're at $545 a tonne, up from $480 a few weeks ago. I mean, still in terms of the long-term price history, quite low, given average prices have been $800 over the last 10 years, but still some positive green shoots there in terms of prices. Just breaking down, our current views, working backwards from long term to very short term. We maintain a very bullish view on prices long term. We still believe strongly that with steady growth expected over the long term, offset by challenges in terms of supply of palm oil, in terms of what we're already seeing, planting rates in many of the producing nations decrease, a situation where there will be a very significant movements in palm oil prices in the long term. Medium term, I'm talking 1 to 3 years, we maintain a view that given low prices over the last 18 months, that we will see some uplift over the next 12 months as supply inevitably comes out of the market, both in vegetable in general from less soy planting, but of course much less fertilising of existing palm oil and clearly lower planting rates. So we're pretty optimistic in the next year or so as well that we're going to see high prices. But looking at what's going on at the moment, if we narrow down into demand side, we've seen some tick up in optimism around the use of palm oil within the biodiesel spectrum. Both Malaysia and Indonesia have been making a lot of noise at government levels about increasing the blend of biodiesel in the fuel spectrum. And specifically in the last week or so, Indonesia have been very clear about their plan to move from B20, as in 20% use of biodiesel, up to B30, starting from as early as January next year. That they've confirmed they've done cold tests to test that the biodiesel B30 works in cold conditions over the last few weeks, and the results have come back positive. So I think they're indicating they're moving full ahead with increasing to B30, which will, we believe, take some of the supply of palm oil out of export markets. So some positive signs there in terms of immediate prices, because really over the last 12 to 18 months, the downside in palm oil has been driven by structural issues. Firstly, the ongoing trade disputes. It's been caught up with between the US and China, and it's in terms of soya and more soy being on the market as a result of smaller purchases from China is one issue. We've seen, of course, India increase tariffs on palm oil to try and support its local soya market, which is unable to compete without those tariffs. We've also seen out of Europe tariffs on biodiesel as well to support the local feedstocks, which simply can't compete with palm oil, which is, by many people's opinion, the lowest cost feedstock for biodiesel. So if you take the view that economics generally prevails in time, we see these issues will inevitably, in terms of tariffs, have to revert back to normalised levels, we suspect, and demand for palm oil as a result will increase. Certainly, at the moment, biodiesel is highly economical, even with oil drifting back into the $50, $55 a barrel prices. Palm oil is economic, but it will at some point. It's not going to drive it back to $1,000 a tonne, but it can, we believe, drive it back north of $600 a tonne purely on the biodiesel usage issue, as it is still economic at these types of prices. So interesting what's going on. We are entering the Southeast Asian high season at the moment, which generally means more supply of palm oil. So to see prices ticking up against this is interesting and bodes well with the interference we suspect will happen from early next year, with both Indonesia moving to B30 and generally palm oil supply potentially coming out of the market, as well as soya coming out of the market, given the long period now of low prices. So we'll keep an eye on it and keep updating our thoughts as they become available to us. Thank you.